Hello, everybody, and welcome to the recap of RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars 8. Real quickly, I want to apologize for not uploading a video about the preseason of, my cast assessment, whatever. I did not have time. I was graduating college, celebrating birthdays. I have another birthday of somebody that I'm close to tomorrow that I am celebrating, so this is going to be maybe slightly late, but I will be uploading for these recap videos for this season. It's just the middle 2 weeks of May are like the busiest weeks of the year every year for me. So, yeah, sorry about it, but we got our recap here. I'm going to be compiling episodes 1 and 2 into like a single video so that, I don't have to upload 2 videos, and also they released at the same time, so I feel like it just kind of makes sense to do it that way. So we'll go through the challenges, the lip syncs, the placements, the everything, and we'll just like talk about it. So yeah, let's just get right on into it. Alrighty, so we see our contestants walk into the workroom and they do their runway presentations and stuff, and I really love this. I love this cast, I gotta say. I love reality television show all-star casts that have good mixes of like people who, maybe didn't do 100% well on their first try and people who, made it to the end on their first try. I feel like you need to have that balance because a cast of people who just went home early is not, and a cast of people who just like, all made it to the end, they're most likely not going to make as good of TV. You need the balance. You need people who did well and who did poorly so that there's differences in abilities for storylines to occur of like, oh, this person did well the first time. Will they do well the second time or will they do bad? And vice versa for somebody who didn't do well their first time. You got to have both. I feel like wanting these like ultra powered, like only people who've made the finale kind of casts, it's usually leads to more boring TV than you'd think. I mean, I would still, I wouldn't be opposed to seeing a cast like that for an all-star season of Drag Race, but I feel like casts like these are kind of where the stories and the show kind of gets to shine, you know what I mean? But yeah, these, everybody, I felt like had great entrance looks. They also did other Fame runways, the like old Fame and new Fame runways. And I thought that was a really fun thing that they did, tying into the Fame games and everything. I would say some of my standouts for that personally were like Candy, like Heidi, um, who else? Who else? Somebody else just popped in my Kahana, duh. I would say those were some of my like favorites in terms of the runways. Okay, so now we go to the Money, Success, Fame, Glamour performances. First group that we saw was the like glam rock group, which was interesting. I think a lot of the issue was that the song wasn't mixed particularly well. Like the audio was too low. Also, just like the theme of it being glam rock and the way that that was presented was confusing to me. But I would say this group was pretty much expressing like Darian's expression here. I feel like sadly Darian didn't do a great job, and everybody else in this group did kind of like a middling job. I would say the best in this group was Kahana, probably, or Heidi, but I wouldn't have chose either of them to win the challenge, I don't think. I think if anybody, if we're just going purely based off of the performances in this challenge, I probably would have chose Lala. I think that's who I would have chose. I mean, they kind of the runways and everything too. So with the runways, I probably might not have. I would understand not choosing Lala, but regardless, um, yeah, I think this group kind of got screwed over a little bit by the fact that their song wasn't 100% there. But I mean, again, I don't feel like anybody did like jack shit terrible. And I don't feel like anybody did terrible in this challenge, just like as a fault. So, good for them. Alrighty, so now we have the pop group. I feel like this group really kind of had like the feast and famine. I feel like two of the worst performers in the challenge, who I'd say were James and Monica, were in the group. But four people who did a really good job, I would say here, Kasha, Jimbo, Lala, and Jessica, were all in this group and all did a great job. Jimbo truly exceeded my expectations in this challenge. Do I think Jimbo should have won? No. But was I like very pleasantly surprised by how well she did. Absolutely. She did the third best at the choreo in her group, which is crazy to me. Because like looking back and not sorry about it in Canada season 1 of like, oh no, Jimbo's not getting this choreo. Jimbo hit all the choreo. I like, yeah, some of her like solo choreo that she did was kind of like, I not 100% there, or not. That's not right, because she like did it, but you know, it wasn't the most like eye-catching choreo that she could have done. But like she did the moves and did them successfully, so that's a plus. I feel like personally for me, a lot of people said that James should have been like in the bottom for this challenge, or the bottom two specifically. I don't agree. I would say James should have been low. As I mentioned earlier, the way that they graded this challenge was basing it off of their fame runways, their runway after these performances, and the Money, Success, Fame, Glamour performances. So looking at all of those, James did mess up the choreo of the performance, but that's really the only thing she fucked up. Her verse was pretty damn good, I'd say, and I thought all of her runways were good. Whereas I think with Monica and Darian both had different issues with their verses and the choreo, and depending on your taste level, your tastes might have, I would say, probably have greater little flubs with their like runways. So I think it makes sense to put James as low, and I wouldn't go any further than that. And I don't think I would even put, I don't think it's fair to put her in the bottom two, or to put her safe. I feel like she's solidly low for this challenge. For the tops, I don't know. I would say it's for me some combination probably of like Heidi, Kahana, Lala, Jessica, Kasha, I guess. I guess those would be like the 5 that my brain is kind of gravitating towards. But like the fact that there's like 5 people that I feel like could reasonably be in the top, and I'd be like, yeah, sure. It means that like a lot of people fucking killed this episode. So Kahana wins the challenge, and she has to lip sync to Freakum Dress against Aja LaBeija. And okay, so this was the only thing I was spoiled for this season, was the fact that this lip sync would be happening episode 1. And honestly, I was very happy to be spoiled about it, because it just made me so excited and ready to see it. And oh boy, was this lip sync so good. I mean, literally, they both fucking smashed it. I'm so happy to see Aja back on my television screen on Drag Race, and I would love to see her on another season. Put her on season 16. It's gonna be filming like right now, isn't it? Just get her there now, do it. But I do think Aja won the lip sync, but I wasn't like, I mean, it's like a 60-40 split. Like, they both fucking killed it. And the people chose Monica to go home, which I feel like makes sense. With these first episodes, there's really nothing to go on besides like how did you perform in the past, and like looking at that, Darian had been shown to have more potential to do better on Drag Race, and that seems to be the criteria a lot of people use. So it makes complete sense to me that Monica would go home here, but I do still wish Monica would have stayed longer. Also, look at that fucking nail on Aja's, I guess it's her left hand, but it's right on the screen. It just looks so long in comparison to the other ones for some reason. It's so weird. But yes, Miss Monica Beverly Hills is an icon. I kind of want to vote for her in the Fame Games. Just, like, regardless of whoever gets eliminated, because she is just so beautiful, and I wish that we, at some point, would get to see a version of Monica Beverly Hills on Drag Race that isn't so overly concerned with exactly how well she's going to do in something. And I want to see Monica let loose, as Lucia LaDuca said. You know, I want to see that from her, and hopefully we eventually will. So, second episode, the challenge was the RDR Live Challenge, which I thought was really good, actually. I feel like they could keep doing this challenge for multiple seasons. Like, don't do Daytona Wins a bunch, do this challenge a bunch. Because it's like an acting challenge, but you also, you know, it's on the spot acting, so there's more room for like genuine like critique and mess up. It's harder to hide. And also I feel like the format, you can do different skits every single season based off of stuff that happened earlier in that season or stuff that happened in the previous season, just like current events. There's room to grow with this challenge, and I would love for them to do it again. But some of the standouts for me were definitely like Heidi, Kasha, Jimbo. Those are probably my top 3 actually, are Heidi, Kasha, and Jimbo. I feel like those 3 did a very solid job in this challenge. Some of the people who did not as well in the challenge, I would say were definitely Naisha, I think, did the worst in this challenge. Um, and I guess if you had to choose anybody else in the bottom two, it might be Kahana, but also I just hate the repeated storyline of like winner episode 1, bottom episode 2. And like with the way that it was presented to us this time, I understand why, because I feel like genuinely Kahana was probably gonna, like, if you're doing a proper bottom 3, it would most likely be in the bottom 3 at somewhere. But I just like there was points in time where they did not have to do that, and I feel like moments like it now would make it feel more special, and less of just like, oh, well, Kahana's episode 1, that means she's going to be bottom episode 2. Like, they didn't have to put Yara Sofia in the bottom 2 on All-Star 6. She didn't fully deserve that. And, oh god, another one, oh, and Monique Hart in All-Stars 4. Like, neither of them, I feel like, actually deserved the bottom of their second episodes, really. Like, maybe a low placement for Yara, maybe. But I feel like they should have been, like, safe, you know? So the fact that they keep doing this shit is annoying. Even though this time I do understand why it happened, because based off of the edit, it did feel like Kahana was probably the second worst, and considering that it's a challenge of this one take, you know, I trust the edit more in this type of challenge than I do, like, you know, a standard scripted acting challenge or like a Snatch game. So, yeah. Jimbo's in the top 2. I completely am good with that. She did an amazing job. I love that she was able to play this, like, big blonde bimbo, but also be, like, the straight man character in her sketch. It was so good. I love that she was able to pull that off. It does suck, though, that Pangina Heels was the lip sync assassin. Not anything against Pangina, but the fact that it's, like, seeing Pangina in the top, like, in the, like, lip sync assassin position immediately lets us know that, like, Jimbo is gonna win this episode, like, anyway, or Jimbo is gonna win an episode in some of this episode's time span where they had Pangina available, where they could be like, "Hey, Pangina, we need you to come tomorrow." Like, you know, like, the fact that it is Pangina just, like, makes that kind of obvious and, like, annoying, because, like, I don't think anybody really likes it, because it's like, once we see that, we're like, "Okay, well, obviously that means that they just, like, had her on standby whenever." And they obviously couldn't have her on standby for that long. They probably, you know, were like, "Hey, are you going to be in LA this week?" You know, hoping and praying that Jimbo is in the top 2 for one of, you know, the next few episodes they film. Um, and that's also me giving them the benefit of the doubt, and, you know, assuming that they're not just like, okay, Jimbo will win episode 2 because it's an acting comedy challenge. Pangina, you need to be here on it for, you know, in 2 days for episode 2. You know what I mean? So regardless of all that, the lip sync was fine. It's just not a good lip sync song for Drag Race. Like, I mentioned this before. I think I mentioned it with "That's What I Want" by Lil Nas X last season of Drag Race US. There are some songs that are just not good lip sync songs for Drag Race, and that's okay. That doesn't mean they're bad songs. That just means they're not good lip sync songs. And this song was not a good lip sync song, so it was kind of like, okay, well, let's just play this out. And Pangina did better for sure than Jimbo, but Jimbo didn't do like a terrible job. I would say it's, you know, kind of almost tied with her supermodel, what remix was it? I forget. Lip sync that she did against Janie JK in UK versus the World Season 2. But yeah, Pangina won, obviously. The people eliminated Naisha because almost every single time, actually literally every single time, when there's been a choice on the second episode of an All-Star season to eliminate the person who won episode 1, and to, you know, eliminate the other person beside them who didn't win episode 1, the other person has always, well, yeah, has always been eliminated. So it's not shocking to me that Naisha left at all. There are things I could say about Naisha Lopez. I'm not going to. Naisha's been in a lot of controversies lately. Some of them, okay. I'm not, because I don't want to cause drama. I also don't want to be a bitch. But there are aspects of some of them where I kind of agree with Naisha, aspects of some where I absolutely don't. So I feel like if you don't have anything constructive to say, don't say anything at all. So I'm not going to be saying much about Naisha here. I do wish for her sake that she was just better at Drag Race. Um, but you know, there are many, many drag queens out there that are amazing, stellar drag queens that aren't great at Drag Race, and those are not tied together. You can be an amazing drag queen and not be great at Drag Race, and that's just kind of what seems to be the case for Naisha. But I wish for her sake again that she was. You know, we've seen like Mayhem Miller hasn't performed particularly well on Drag Race, but before coming on Drag Race was like, you know, the most popular like non-drag race, non-drag race contestant queen in California, and even still is one of the most popular. Like, you can be a star without being great of drag without being great at Drag Race, you know? So two contestants have been eliminated so far. We are down to our top 10. I would say the main people that I'm thinking are going to be in the top 4 of some kind are like Heidi, Candy, Lala, James, Kasha, Jimbo. Like, those are the 6 that I feel like could, some assortment of, could comprise like a top 4. I just haven't seen enough from the edit to support Alexis, Darian, Jessica, or Kahana being in the top 4, but obviously that could change. And I also don't feel like I've actually fully seen enough from Kasha, but I do feel like Kasha has done super well in the first 2 challenges, and I could see kind of like an upward trajectory for her in terms of like her edit on the season, and I hope we do get that. So again, thank you all so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you wish. Follow me on Twitter down below. I'll link it in the description. I've gotten more into just like, I don't know, kind of roasting people saying dumb shit on my Twitter. So if you want to support that, then go ahead. But yeah, again, thank you all so much for watching. And as always, take care. Bye-bye.